through the qualifying procedure, and therefore, of course, your grid procedure. So Wirtz, I think, shy of about quarter of a second of where he would have ideally wanted to have been.
Here's Narain Karthikeyan, never been to this racetrack before, done British Formula 3, raced in Formula Nissan, but it's never brought him to this track before. And so he's learning it throughout the weekend. He and teammate Monteiro have been spectacular all weekend, blasting up over the curbs. And you'd have to say Karthikeyan has pushed his luck on several occasions. He's pushed the apex a little bit there as well at the famous Tosa corner. But watch him up through the fast chicanes. He is absolutely fireworks through there.
Yes, I think the general consensus is that Monteiro, his teammate, they were expecting him to have the edge on Karthikeyan. But I'd really like to see this lad in a really tuned up, up-to-date, latest spec Formula 1 car. Just see how fast he is. He certainly impressed me.
Here he goes then over the Variante Alta, the back out as it was all morning. How he holds on to it, only probably one wheel touching the ground as he lands the other three on the exit of the Variante Alta. 75, 80 miles an hour on the exit, 180 on the approach to it. This is the Ravazza, two Ravazza corners, 70 miles an hour, running out wide for Karthikeyan. This car had a little bit of development. They did a test last week at Paul Ricard, a modest number of miles, but nothing like the big teams, as Martin was saying before.
Yes, he had to get back out of the throttle once he'd committed in second Ravazza, and that cost him quite dearly, actually. He really should have been in the 1:22s, but committed himself to second Ravazza, and then just had to back right out of the throttle and hang on to the outer limits of the racetrack, and that cost him a good half second.
He too, a couple of tenths slower than he managed in the free. Here is Tiago Monteiro. Well, I was up this morning at the Variante Alta chicane, one of my favourite corners in Formula 1 to stand and watch the cars bouncing over the curbs, and this guy was really pushing his luck, and he went off twice this morning, lost time in both of his morning sessions with over-exuberant driving. He's trying very hard to get a lap time out of this Jordan that it really doesn't want to deliver.
No, he didn't use enough track on the way in to Villeneuve chicane, therefore had to use far too much on the way out, and he's comfortably the slowest man down there, and he looks like he's frightened of the edge of the track on turn in, and it's just compromising his whole corner apex and exit speeds. Heading down now to Acqua Minerale, so bumpy on the way in there. I noticed this year, really, I don't know if they've had a hard winter here in the Imola area, but the track looks a lot bumpier than ever before.
Yeah, a lot of cracks around as well. The tarmac indicates been pretty cold here over the winter. Already over 3 seconds slower than Michael Schumacher is Tiago Monteiro as he drops down the hill then towards the Ravazza. 185 miles an hour, brake, turn in, down to 60 miles an hour on the apex. Then at the second part of Ravazza, running out wide, 70 miles an hour on the exit, into the Variante Bassa, the right-hander, then brake hard for the Traguardo, up over the curbs at about 60 miles an hour. The back end snaps around, Monteiro exits, and he is 4.8 seconds off the pace. Schumacher fastest, Button second, Wirtz third, Heidfeld fourth, Sato fifth, Villeneuve sixth, seventh Fisichella, and eighth Liuzzi.
And more significantly even than that, he's a full 2 seconds slower than his teammate Karthikeyan. Ted has some news.
I'm down at Ferrari. I tell you, this is a sign of how ridiculously advanced these cars have got. Ferrari